Guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is one of those videos that I know some of you won't be like, some of you won't like to watch or to listen to, but it is one of those videos that I have to make because I understand that a lot of you are interested, especially in coming and knowing a lot of stuff here or about Turkey. So my channel is always about the positive side in most cases, but today we're gonna be talking about the maybe a negative side of Turkey and the reason why you should not even think of coming to Turkey in 2023. This has nothing to do like with me not liking Turkey or not loving here. I love this country. I respect everybody here, and also it is a beautiful country. However, some of you might find it very difficult, especially if you are coming from different countries. So these are some of the reasons why you should not even think of coming in Turkey in 2023. The very first reason why you should not come in Turkey in 2023 is actually the visa process can be very difficult. Turkey requires citizens of most of the countries to obtain a visa before entering the country. Now, the visa process can be difficult and also time consuming, and there have been reports of long wait times at the embassy just waiting for the visa, and also at the consulates. And something I have also to note is that even if you get a visa, if you arrive in Turkey, getting the resident permit that will enable you, maybe if you want to extend your stay or maybe work or do other stuff, it is very difficult. Right now they are not easily approving the resident permit. So if you are thinking of coming to Turkey to do maybe work, or maybe you will just say that, oh, I will get a visa and then take a flight and then come to Turkey and start working and they're gonna approve my application. No, it will take a hassle for some countries. In most cases, even, let me just be honest, maybe from my country, maybe from Africa, they are not approving easily, and also from other countries. Maybe the reason being there are so many reshuffle or maybe restriction on foreigners, knowing that we also have those restriction when it comes to safety. So it might take long. Also, it might cost you money to just get that resident permit. And another reason why I'm saying it might be very difficult, even at the embassy, when you're applying for work permit, they are not being approved. So it makes it very difficult. So that is the very first reason. Going at number 2, the reason why you should not come to Turkey in 2023 is the transportation system can be very unreliable. Turkey's transportation system is not as reliable as those in other countries, and sometimes trains and buses can be crowded and delays are common. The roads are also not in the best condition, and there have been reports of accidents involving tourists. So this is something you must actually know if you're coming, or maybe if you're considering to come to Turkey. Just to know that the transportation system might not be as good as you are used to in a certain country. Okay. Coming at number 3 is the level of English is not as high as in some other countries. The level of English in Turkey is not as high as in other countries because the national language is actually Turkish, and this can make it difficult to communicate with local, especially if you are traveling outside of the major tourist areas. So it is something that I have to note, like the language barrier, because not everybody in Turkey speaks English, so you might have a very difficult time communicating if you're coming for the first time. And if you are not still even coming, or you are not thinking of coming, then you should consider this, because if you are a person who loves to talk, if you're a person who loves to travel in different places, if you travel somewhere in Turkey where they are not speaking English, then it can be a very difficult situation for you. Now, coming at number 4 is actually to let you know that the high inflation in Turkey is something else that will actually make you not to come to Turkey in 2023. The cost of living has risen, like everything has gone up. It is very expensive, not like in the previous years. And the high or the rate of inflation in Turkey right now is very, very high, around at 40%, which makes the cost of living, especially for expats or for people who are earning low, to actually struggle a lot, and also just to get the basic needs. So remember, if you are thinking of coming to Turkey at this time in 2023, especially if you're going to be actually being paid in Turkish lira, and then it's going to be very difficult for you. If you are coming, you can come, but remember this, like I'm telling you, the cost of living is right now very high due to the inflation, and everything is actually going up. So that is number 4. Coming at number 5 is actually the culture shock can be significant. Turkey is a very different country from many Western countries. The culture shock can be significant, and it can take you some time to adjust. It is important to be aware of the cultural difference before you travel to Turkey. There's so many things that they are doing that are cultural that you might not be doing in your own country, and you might be finding so difficult, or you might find it a very difficult time to adjust to if you're not used to cultural things. However, it is on a positive side, it is good actually to explore some of these cultures. But if you're not a person who is into cultures, then Turkey is not for you guys. Okay. Now, coming at number 5, I'm not sure if I'm at number 5 or number 4. Another major thing I have to highlight is the political situation. Turkey is currently experiencing a political instability. The government has cracked down in many ways, okay? And the political situation in Turkey is likely to remain volatile in the coming years, because there are so many things, especially that have happened in terms of politics due to the previous elections, okay? Now, let's talk about the risk of earthquake. Turkey is located on, maybe let me say, on maybe a semi-active region, and there is a risk of earthquakes. In 2023, this year actually, there was a major earthquake in the eastern part of the country that killed over 50,000 people. The risk of earthquake in Turkey is always present. So if you're thinking of coming to Turkey, or if you're a person who is thinking to come to Turkey, be aware of the earthquake. And if you are a person who don't want to take that risk, then don't come to Turkey. Of course, I have to highlight earthquake natural calamities. Nobody is planning, or nobody knows about tomorrow, but it is good to be aware of this situation. Okay. Now, another petty thing, maybe not petty, but something that is common here in Turkey that you might not, that might make you not to come, is actually the petty crime. Petty crimes such as pickpocketing and bag snatching is common in Turkey, especially in tourist or maybe in busy streets of Istanbul. It is important to be aware of your surroundings and take precautions to protect your belongings. So be aware of these things, okay? Now, even though I have mentioned previously about Turkish cuisines and how good it is to me and how I love it, and sometimes I prepare it. By the way, if you are not following me on my other channel, you need to. You might learn one or two things about cooking or the cuisines of Turkish people. Now let's talk about this food. The Turkish food is very different from Western food, and it might not be to everyone's taste. Some people find it too spicy, and others find it too heavy. It is important to try Turkish food before you travel to Turkey, so that when you come you know exactly what you are expecting. If you're a person who doesn't like heavy food, especially during the breakfast, then it can be very difficult for you in the morning, because Turkish breakfast, we all know how it normally comes like a full table of stuff. Okay, now another thing is about the weather. Turkey has a Mediterranean climate, which means that the summers are hot and dry and the winters are mild and wet. The weather can be extreme in some parts of the country, such as in the mountainous region where it can snow in the winter. It is important to be aware of the weather condition before even thinking of coming to Turkey. Okay, so that is something I have to actually note and tell you. Now, I think number 9 or number 8, if I'm not wrong, is the risk of terrorism. Even if it doesn't happen each and every time, I have to mention it because Turkey has been a target of terrorist attacks in recent years, carried out by both domestic and foreign terrorist groups. The most major attack was in February 2023 when a series of suicide bombings in Istanbul killed some people. And the risk of terrorism in Turkey is likely to remain high in the foreseeable future. And even if it doesn't happen every day, it is still something you have to consider, especially if you are aiming to come in Turkey. And also something I have to finalize by saying is that finding a job as a foreigner when you're coming, especially if you are intending to hustle like you normally say, here in Turkey can be a very, very difficult task for many. I have seen a lot of girls who are stranded, a lot of boys who are still looking for jobs and they can't find a job. If you don't have a professional skill, maybe if you are not being hired by a big company that will actually cater for your needs in terms of accommodation and everything, then just finding a job immediately can be a very tricky thing here in Turkey. And let's not even mention about the low salaries compared to other countries. However, I have to mention Turkey is a good country. If you come here, you're going to learn a lot of things in terms of culture, in terms of people, the way of living, and also just appreciate the culture and everything here in Turkey. I hope you have enjoyed this short video about the 10 reasons why you should not even think of coming to Turkey in 2023. This has nothing, like I said, like I mentioned, doesn't make Turkey to be a bad country. It is a good country, and these things that I have mentioned, even though they happen, it doesn't mean that you should not come. You can come, but consider or bear in mind of the things that I have spoken. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have questions, if you have comments you want to add, your experiences and also other things, respectfully please do in the comment section, and I would love to actually read some of them and hear from you. Otherwise, until next time in my next video, I'll see you. Bye.